Everybody wants success. Everybody wants the money, the confidence, the freedom, the life they've always imagined. But there's a problem. Most people want the results without wanting the discipline that creates them. They want the strong body, but they don't want the early mornings. They want financial freedom, but they don't want to learn new skills. They want confidence, but they don't want to face rejection. They want success, but they don't want to sacrifice comfort. Here's the truth. Your dreams don't care about your feelings. Your goals don't care if you're tired. Your future doesn't care if you don't feel motivated today. Results come from what you do, not what you wish for. You can have the greatest plan in the world, but if you don't have the discipline to execute it, nothing changes. Every day you make a choice. You can choose comfort, or you can choose growth. You can choose excuses, or you can choose action. And those choices may seem small today, but repeated for years, they become your entire life. So ask yourself, are you willing to do what your dream requires? Because if the answer is no, you don't have a dream. You have a wish. And wishes don't build extraordinary lives. Discipline does. Motivation feels powerful. It gives you energy. It makes you believe you can change everything overnight. But motivation is temporary. One day you're excited. The next day you're exhausted. One morning you feel unstoppable. The next morning you don't even want to get out of bed. That's why relying on motivation is dangerous. Because successful people don't work only when they feel inspired. They work because they made a decision. They decided who they wanted to become. And they refuse to negotiate with that decision. Discipline means you don't ask, do I feel like doing this? You ask, does this need to be done? That's the difference. You don't need motivation to keep your promises. You need discipline. You don't need motivation to show up. You need discipline. You don't need motivation to continue after failure. You need discipline. The world is full of people who are motivated for 3 days. Very few people are disciplined for 3 years. And those are the people who eventually change their lives. Remember, motivation can start the journey, but discipline is what finishes it. Comfort feels good. That's why it's dangerous. Comfort tells you, stay here. You're fine. You can do it tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And eventually, years disappear. The problem isn't that you don't have enough time. The problem is that you're spending your time on things that don't move your life forward. Every hour matters. Every decision matters. Every habit matters. You don't have to completely destroy your life to change it. You simply need to stop choosing comfort every time discomfort appears. Because growth is uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. Failure is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable. But regret is far more painful. One day you'll look back at your life, and you'll either be proud of the sacrifices you made, or you'll wish you had started sooner. Don't let temporary comfort create permanent regret. Your future self is watching what you do today. Make sure you're giving that person something to be proud of. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about keeping promises, especially the promises nobody else knows you made. When you tell yourself you'll wake up early, wake up. When you promise yourself you'll train, train. When you decide you'll learn something new, learn. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust in yourself, and that trust becomes confidence. Real confidence isn't pretending you're powerful. It's knowing you've proven yourself reliable. You know you can count on yourself. You know you'll show up. You know you'll keep going. That's powerful, because a person who can trust themselves doesn't need constant motivation from the outside world. They carry their motivation within them. So stop making promises you don't intend to keep. Start small. Make one commitment, and keep it. Then make another, and keep that one too. Slowly, you become a different person. Not because you suddenly became stronger, but because you trained yourself to do what you said you would do. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you have to accept responsibility. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to wake up for you. Nobody is going to do the work for you. Nobody is going to build your future. That responsibility belongs to you. You can blame your circumstances. You can blame your past. You can blame other people. But blame doesn't change your life. Responsibility does. The moment you stop waiting for someone else, you become powerful, because now you understand that your future is in your hands. Maybe you didn't choose where you started. Maybe you didn't choose every challenge you faced. But you can choose what you do next. You can choose to learn. You can choose to work. You can choose to become stronger. You can choose discipline. And that choice can change everything. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Become the person who believes enough to take the first step. The real test of discipline is what you do when nobody is watching. Anyone can work hard when people are applauding. Anyone can stay motivated when success is visible. But what happens when nobody notices? What happens when you work for months and nothing seems to change? That's where discipline becomes real. You continue. You keep learning. You keep training. You keep showing up, not because someone is watching, but because you know who you're becoming. The greatest transformations happen in private. Nobody sees the thousands of hours. Nobody sees the sacrifices. Nobody sees the moments when you almost quit. But eventually, they see the result, and they call it luck. They call it talent. They call it overnight success. But you know better. You know the truth. You built it when nobody was watching. So don't worry if people don't see your progress today. Keep going. Your results will introduce you tomorrow. Some people think discipline is a prison. They think discipline takes away their freedom. But the opposite is true. Discipline creates freedom. If you control your money, you gain financial freedom. If you control your health, you gain physical freedom. If you control your emotions, you gain mental freedom. If you control your time, you gain freedom over your life. The person who cannot control themselves will always be controlled by something else. Their phone, their emotions, their addictions, their fears, their impulses. But when you develop discipline, you take back control. You decide what matters. You decide where your energy goes. You decide who you become. That's real freedom. Not doing whatever you feel like doing, but having the strength to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline isn't punishment. It's power. And the more disciplined you become, the more freedom you create. Now, you know the truth. There is no shortcut. There is no secret formula. There is no magical moment when everything suddenly becomes easy. If you want different results, you need different habits. If you want a different life, you need to become a different person. And that transformation begins with discipline. Not tomorrow, not next Monday. Today. The next time you don't feel like getting up, get up. The next time you want to quit, take one more step. The next time comfort calls your name, remember the future you're building, because your future is being created right now. Every choice, every habit, every sacrifice, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're becoming stronger. And one day, you'll look back and realize the life you dreamed about didn't appear by accident. You built it, one disciplined day at a time. So remember these words. No discipline, no results, no consistency, no transformation, no sacrifice, no greatness. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up. Again, and again, and again, until the person you once dreamed of becoming becomes a person you see in the mirror. So get up, get focused, get disciplined. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop negotiating with the weaker version of yourself. Your future is waiting. And the only question is, will you do what it takes to earn it? Because when discipline becomes your lifestyle, success becomes your consequence. No discipline, no results. But when you master discipline, there's almost nothing you cannot build.